Our next speaker is Linda Albright, and we had her last year at our Women Living Consciously event in Connecticut. Linda's from Connecticut, and we so much enjoyed it. She was an amazing speaker that we asked her to come down here to share all her information with you. So I'm going to read a little bio about her, and then I'm going to turn it over to her. Linda Albright. Linda Albright is a serial entrepreneur who spent 20 years in California before recently returning to her native Connecticut. Linda helped build successful businesses in several different markets, including corporate software, professional services, a chimney sweep business with operations in 3 states, and a venture capital funded .com company. Her passion for starting things has transformed into a clear mission to empower women entrepreneurs both financially and spiritually by helping them make a living with their natural gifts and talents. Drawing frequently on both Eastern and Western religious traditions, Linda helps her clients connect to their sense of purpose in the world as they navigate the never-ending needs of work, family, and community. Linda is a licensed spiritual counselor, the founder of the Connecticut chapter of the Dartmouth Entrepreneurial Network, an advisory board member of the National Networking Group Over 40 Females, and a founding member of the Copper Beach Institute, a preeminent contemplative healing center in the state of Connecticut. Ladies, I'm grateful to present Linda Albright.
I didn't think there was a dry eye in the house after that. Oh my gosh. Where did Ellen? Wow. Thank you. That's such an inspiring story. Does anybody want to get up and stretch? Do you have the post-lunch sleepies? Or just take a couple deep breaths. Let's do that together. Let's all get on the same page. Just feel that energy in that body, that gorgeous body of yours. Take another one. And one more. Okay. That was the first time I've been introduced as Linda Albright in about 20 years. I recently went through a life transition, a very good one, and I'm thrilled to be back. My former name was Tom, looks like Tomb, T-O-M-B. My maiden name was Albright. I'm going from the dark to the light. And it's absolutely no disrespect meant to my ex-husband, who I think is a divine being. It's just our journey as spouses has come to an end. So that's a little vulnerability about me. You can't be in this room and not sort of soak it all in. Okay. So what I want to do today, I guess the title of this talk is How to Triple Your Income, but Not Your Hours, this year from someone who's done it. And so I'm very eager to share with you heart-centered entrepreneurs a way to make more money doing what you love, because when you don't make money, it's hard to give your gifts into the world. So I'm going to jump into that in a minute. But I want to tell you a little bit about why I do what I do, tell you a little bit about my journey, and then I really want to give you some concrete tips and tools so that ideally in your next sales experience or your next business encounter, you're more likely to make a deal. How many of you are actual entrepreneurs in this room? That's what I thought. Okay. Well, whether or not you're an entrepreneur or not, what I'm going to say today, I hopefully will apply to just about any area of your life. So I do what I do because there's nothing else I can do. This is what I have to do because I'm absolutely passionate about empowering women spiritually and financially. Because I know, like you do, that when the world is populated with women who are financially well off and spiritually grounded, the world improves. It's just a known entity. And what I love is that science has now caught up with that wisdom. So we have known this in our bones since we were born. But last month, the Harvard Business Review produced a report that showed that women spend 90 cents of every additional dollar, meaning every dollar above and beyond your probably basic life needs, on good things like health and family and education and nutrition. 90 cents of every dollar. Anybody want to guess what men spend? No offense. 30 to 40 cents per dollar. It just gives me goosebumps because it's so clear that we need to get empowered, because when the balance of power shifts into your hands, the world is a better place. So I do what I can to help you up level. So my own story is not very linear. I started my entrepreneurial journey, I guess, just after college. So there I was at Dartmouth College, late 80s. I was an art history major, and all of my classmates, it seemed like 201, were heading off either to law school or Wall Street. And that was not for me. And so what in the world was I going to do? So I did what every good little Ivy Leaguer would do, and I opened up the newspaper, the help wanted ads, and I circled the ad that said, chimney sweeps wanted. Chimney sweeps wanted, because what else was I going to be? I wanted to get my hands dirty and figure out what I was supposed to be when I grew up. And so yes, I did. I went and swept and inspected and cleaned and built chimneys, and I actually loved it. But the interesting thing was within 2 years, I helped open up 3 offices in 3 states. And I got bit by that entrepreneurial bug big time. I was like, this is cool stuff. And believe it or not, I actually burned out of chimney sweeping. And I ended up in California, where I fell into a string of high-tech startup companies. So one after the other after the other. Very exciting time to be in LA, or actually rather San Francisco, building companies, dawn of the digital era. It's like, wow, this is cool stuff. And it culminated for me, one year a friend approached me and had this idea for a really cool new business no one had ever heard of called a .com. And so we raised a couple of $1 million to get this .com off the ground. Really exciting time in my life. The challenge was I was 5 months pregnant at the time. And there I was in front of the investors. I could hide the fact that I was pregnant back then because I was 33 years old and it was my first baby and I'm almost 6 feet tall. Like today, I'm glad, you know, we have Spanx. So there we were, we raised the money. I hid the fact that I was pregnant from them. 8 days after, I get choked up every time I tell the story. 8 days after giving birth to my first child, I went back to work. And 14 days after giving birth to my first child, we launched the business. So I basically birthed a business and a baby in the same month. And I lost my mind. Because nobody taught me, you don't do that. Or nobody taught me how to do that. How do you make your mark in the world and, you know, have a purpose and make good money and sort of be out in the world in a big way and be a good mother and have a balanced life? I didn't know how to do that. So in that very challenging time, I resigned from that position that I had created, high-powered, well-paying, cutting-edge technology. I resigned from that position, and in that moment, I dedicated my life, and I didn't realize that at the moment, but I dedicated my career at that point to finding the magic pill, to solving this problem, to help women make good money doing what they love and have a balanced life. Now, the problem was I didn't know how to make good money doing what I loved. I knew how to make good money for other people. I knew how to build businesses for other people. I didn't know how to do it for myself. So I struggled for a decade as a coach. And do you know what that feels like? When you're doing what you love and the money's not coming and you start to wonder, is this not what I'm supposed to be doing? If I'm supposed to be doing this, why am I not making any money? And you know, you start worrying about the bills. My husband at the time was in the nonprofit world. So it wasn't like we had a lot of, you know, flexibility there. You start worrying about car bills and college and mortgages and, you know, all that stuff. And then something actually fantastic happened. My marriage blew up. And when your marriage blows up and you are faced with providing for yourself and your 3 kids by this point, you quickly figure out what to do to make money if you don't want to go back and find a job, which I knew was just not an option for me. So I threw myself into top-notch spiritual training programs. And trust me, I had a decade of spiritual training under my belt. I sought out the right spiritual training at the time and top business trainings at the time because I knew I had to make this work. So what came out of that was pretty miraculous. I quickly built my business to 6 figures, and I keep on going. But what was really great was I sort of codified and figured out this special sauce formula that is repeatable, and I'm just so eager to like provide it for you. We'll get into that in just a minute. And what I did, when I look back, I thought, wow, how did I just do what I did? Sort of, you know when you have these phases in life where it's all kind of a blur, and you look back and go, what in the world did I do? I picked it apart. I realized that my sales closing average, so that closing rate you hear about, was actually twice the industry average. So what does that mean? That means if you want to pick up, say, an extra 5 clients, the average person has to talk to 20 people for 5 new clients. I have to talk to 10. That saves a lot of time, a lot of energy, but it also helps make a bigger impact in the world in the way that I'm here to make, just like you are. You are here to make a huge impact in the world. We have healers and coaches and nutritionists and incredible, incredible, gifted women here. You are divine. You are absolutely put on this earth to give your natural gifts and talents. There was a 1 in a 400 trillion chance that you got here. It's another scientific fact. So we need to help you have that big impact that you're here to have, because when you are out there on the stage like you're meant to be, we raise the vibration and the world improves. So what I have is something called the Soulful Sales System, and it's all about selling from the heart, because if you can't sell, you have a hobby. I hate to say it. I had a hobby for 10 years. If you can't sell your small scale, you cannot have the impact you want to have, because you don't have the resources to get out there. And the beautiful thing is I know that what I've sort of crafted from these dark shadows of my life really works. It's not just me. It's not just me building a 6-figure business. It's the amazing women I work with. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Deb is a woman that learned what I'm about to teach you. She's a baker, and her dream is to distribute smiles out into the world through her confections. And when I met her, she had 3 clients. And when she was done learning this, within 3 months, she had 18. Yeah, wow. See, because you've never been taught the soulful way to sell what you're doing. Like, most people feel like, ugh, sales is kind of phony. I feel kind of fake. I get really nervous. I'll tell you one other story, then we're going to jump into things. Lubna and Lalita, very unusual names, very unusual women. They had this dream business of theirs. They had been in the marketing world for decades, and they were sick and tired of seeing how companies market to women. So their dream business was to start a marketing company that would speak respectfully to women. So they learned what I'm going to mention to you here, and they landed their first corporate client, to the tune of $375,000, and we are still doing the happy dance, because look what they're putting out into the world. So how many in this room kind of feel like sales makes you feel phony or fake, or it's just you're not very comfortable with the whole process? Okay. And how many of you are really uncomfortable when it comes to pricing? Yeah. I have people who, it's like when they're telling me the price, it's like they put their price up and then they run away. Okay, so we're going to address all that. This is what I'm going for, is to try and get you over that, make you comfortable, make you powerful, make you confident, help you make more money. Because the sad truth is, money is what makes the world go round. I don't know if it's sad or not, but the truth is, money is what enables us to. Money is power. So let's get the power in this room. Okay. So there are 3 stages, 3 steps to the Soulful Sales System. And yeah, I'm going to have you do some exercises here to try and drive this home. The first is soulful. The second is service, which was a great intro, Ellen. And the third is structure of a sales conversation. So let's take these piece by piece. Soulful. I love when I get to work with powerful you people, because you know exactly what that means. Sometimes I'm talking to people just in the business arena, and I kind of have to backdoor this whole soulful spiritual thing. I can just totally be out in the open with you guys. You know what soulful is, but let me remind you. You are divine. You are unique. There's only one of you. And you were birthed and put here right now, with divine gifts and talents that only you can provide. And your people are waiting. And what happens is some of you hide, and some of you aren't bringing your full, glorious, full-orbed self when it comes to sales. Okay? So think about when you buy something. It's an emotional decision. It's an emotional connection. Have you ever purchased anything or invested in anything significant where you didn't actually like the person that you were investing in? I mean, I have. I've had realtors. You know, you're going to buy a home, you got to like your realtor. So I've had to switch realtors. Or I once realized that I didn't really like the woman who was my financial planner, and I would try and get off the phone really fast with her. And but that's probably not a good idea. Like, you really need to like the person who's handling your money. So my point is that you need that soul-to-soul connection with somebody before they're willing to invest in you. So to drive this point home, I like to refer to somebody that I think in this room everybody knows. Yes, because she has what I call all of this a sexy soul. You have a sexy soul. You were somebody before you became mommy, before you became Mrs. So-and-so, and so we got to bring out that sexy soul. So the person who reminds me the most of this is Lucille Ball, and her show was I Love Lucy. So that woman, man. Okay, so we know she was this popular TV star, right? She was like one of the most popular TV stars of her day. She was nominated for, I think, 14 Emmys, and I think she won 4 of them. She owned a TV studio. So she was not just popular, but she was an incredible businesswoman. So not only did she own the studio, I don't know if you know this, when she got pregnant with her first child at age 40 back then, she had to go to battle with CBS Studios because they did not want to show her on TV pregnant. And she won. And not only did she show up on TV, she worked her pregnancy into the storyline of the show. Do you remember that? Like, whoa, this woman's got some spunk. But as you know, she was not just this sort of ball-busting businesswoman. She was gorgeous. I loved looking at her. I was a young girl when I loved looking at her. Dressed to the nines, always well done. And yet she was zany and quirky and hysterical, right? So talk about a woman who let her sexy soul shine through. So she was not afraid to show up in her business. So why are you? Okay. I'm going to run you through 3 exercises, 3 quick questions to get that sexy soul back in your business and back into the sales table. Because it all comes down to, if you don't show up in your business, you don't show up at your sales conversations, you're much less likely to make a deal. All right, so 3 questions. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? In my own business, I was hiding my spirituality for the longest time. It's like my spirituality was over here. I did it not in my business, and I did it on Sundays, but I did other days too. But I was afraid that if I brought that into my business, I was going to alienate people because, my God, religion is so alienating. But this is not religion, this is spirituality. When I chose to step out in a more spiritual way and just be out with it, my business hit its stride. So what are you hiding that either you're afraid to show? If you're not hiding something, chances are there may be areas that you are, this is number 2, just you think are irrelevant. So what about you do you think is not pertinent to your business? So my mentor comes to mind, a woman I've worked with, and she's the ripe old age of 31, and she's on track to make $3 million this year. So I sort of pay attention when she speaks, and it's interesting to watch her branding and her marketing. She is a belly dancer and an avid surfer, and she actually pulls all that together in her marketing, which, whether you like it or not, it's working for her, right? So what do you think is not relevant that actually you could bring to the table and make you much more interesting, much more interesting? And thirdly, what are you hiding? What are you leaving out? What's the third one? What do you need to do to get your mojo back? What do you need to do to get that spark, that zip? You were not always overtired, overbooked, overworked. I think you know from experience, I know you know from experience that when women, for example, maybe you just need to hang out with more women. We feed each other. We get that zip, that drive going in each other. And the reason is because when women congregate, our oxytocin levels go up. I don't know if you knew this. Now, oxytocin, you the health coaches know this. Oxytocin is called the love hormone. That's what gets activated when you're nursing. But it also gets activated when you're with other women. And science now knows that oxytocin levels, when they're raised, they make you smarter and they make you healthier. So hang out with your tribe. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to go buy some lingerie for that sexy soul. Maybe you need to go take pole dancing lessons. Doesn't matter what it is. Get your mojo back. Okay? That's the first piece. Soulful. Bring your soul in. Find your Lucille Ball. Bring her to your business. Your bottom line will thank you. Okay. Second piece. Service. Now, I know you know you're here to improve the world. This is a room filled with service-minded people. But somehow when it comes to sales, that goes out the window because you're making it about yourself and not the person you're serving. So think of it this way. People are starved for connection in this crazy 24-hour ADD, shiny object world. People are starved for this kind of connection. And so when you are going to meet with someone or when you're ready to network, go for being of service to someone because everybody who walks in a room has a need. Everyone is battling something, and you can be of service. Now, by the way, when you're in the sales, when you're dealing with sales, realize not everybody needs what you're offering. So don't try to sell everybody what you're offering. But if you are tuned in and soulful and in a service mindset, you will be able to figure out, how can I serve this person? Can I serve this person? And about a third of the people that I talk to, and I talk to people who are already qualified, meaning it's clear that they have a need that I could probably help. And about a third of the people I actually sit down and talk with, I don't ever even offer my services because if I did, I'd be making it about me, not them. Okay, so one telltale sign as to whether you're being of service or not is, are you nervous? Are you nervous when you sit down to talk to someone about your packages? And if you're nervous, you're making it about you, not them. It's just like telltale sign. Are you jittery? Are you nervous? Do you kind of want to curl up? That's because you're focused on you. Open up. It's a different energy to bring an energy of service to your sales conversations. When I'm working with someone, I can tell if I shift from me to them or from them to me. And I've been doing this enough now, I can say, what do they need? What do they need? What do they need? Like, get back to what they need. Don't get in here. Get in here. It's a heart-centered experience. So on your paper there, I'd like you to write down, I serve my clients by, and fill that out. I serve my clients by. How do you help somebody? Now, when you're doing this, think about the problem you're solving. You have to be a problem solver. You have to provide pleasure. You have to alleviate pain. And if your marketing and your sales are not done in those terms, and you come talking at somebody, you've lost it. It's about service, solving problems, providing pain. Alleviating pain. You won't make many sales if you provide pain. Okay. So just write that down. I serve my clients by. The final step, after you've found that sexy soul, and after you have tweaked your mindset to be of service, I am here to serve, show me how, can I help this person, what can I do for them, and oh yeah, by the way, this is the investment. That is how you need to come to the table. After you've got that, that's great, right? And then you say, okay, but what do I say? What do I say so I'm not salesy, nervous, phony feeling? How do I do this? So I'm going to run you through some basic steps. I actually have something called the Double Your Sales Formula, and there's a 7-step process. I don't think we have time to get into all of it today. I'm going to give you the nuggets, the core nuggets. If you do this, your next sales conversation will be much better than your previous ones. I told you the examples of some of the women I work with. And in my own business. So I want you to integrate this. First thing you need to do, Ask questions. I cannot tell you how many people talk too much. The first 10 to 15 minutes of your sales conversation, you need to be asking questions and not talking. Because how can you figure out how you can help someone if you're doing all the talking in the beginning? I have some incredible sales experiences where I've been sold to. I love to get sold. I love being sold to well. And it pains me when I'm not being sold to well. I'm going to give you an example. I was in the market for some services I needed. 2 different consultants I spoke to. First one, they were both on the phone. First one, about 7-8 minutes into the conversation, she had not yet asked me what I needed, why I was talking to her. She was rattling on and on and on about what she did. Now, I already kind of knew what she did, so I called her. I got annoyed. This is not the effect you want to have on people, to get annoyed with somebody who you want to do business with or to annoy them. So I had to interrupt her and say, let me tell you what I need. So I had to explain to her what I needed. And it just got worse from there. Then we got around to her, how did she work? And then she started talking about how she took some of her kids to her gigs. And I was like, whoa, I clearly am not in this equation. I wasn't harsh or rude. It's more of a learning experience for me to realize she's so swirling in her world, she can't step out and think about serving me and ask me questions. So clearly I did not transact business with that woman. She also got incredibly nervous around prices and packaging, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The next person, same amount of time, we spent the first 10 minutes talking about what I needed. Great insightful questions, asked about my vision, asked what I was looking for, asked what worked, what didn't work. She then got to the point where she told me about what she did, and we talked about her prices. Same amount of time, $2,500 investment with the second one, not with the first one. Now here's the thing. First one could have been better at what she did than the second one, but I was not doing business with her. Okay, so step 1, ask questions, insightful. Some of the questions you need to ask are, what's your vision? Why are you talking to me? What is it that you're seeking? How can I help? If you are a health coach, it's ask them about their pain. Okay, so you have a pain in your hip. How does that feel? How does that impair you? Does it make you tired? Does it make you cranky? Does it make you yell at your children? Get to the root. You have to build this emotional connection. Selling and buying doesn't happen here, it happens here. So ask insightful questions to get them to talk about what they want. It's not as effective if you say, so your hip is really bothering you, you'd like to be out of pain, right? No, let them tell you. Okay. Next thing you need to do, after you've gotten them really engaged with their vision of like, what would it be like to be pain-free? What would it be like to live without financial fear? What would it be like to make more money doing what you love? Like really have them feel that. And then you want to check in with them. Where are they now? And what's the problem? What are the challenges? And you want them to be, if you've connected soulfully with them, they will open themselves up. Because this is of service to them. You are allowing them and giving them the space to air what matters to them in here. So they will tell you their challenges. It's amazing what some people will tell you. They will tell you what's stopping them. They'll tell you what they don't know how to do. They will tell you about the frustration that they're feeling. And you want to create that space for them to do that. The next thing you must do, this is a key sort of transitional phrase. You ask them, how do they see getting themselves from where they are now to where they just told you they want to be? How do they see themselves getting from where they are now to where they want to be? And the truth is, if they knew how, they would have done it. So how do you see yourself taking off 40 pounds? How do you see yourself getting out of debt? How do you see yourself repairing that relationship? Whatever it is they're struggling with. Let them tell you what they think they need to do. This can be a real aha moment, because in that one question, they will realize, I don't know how to do this. Maybe she does. Maybe she can help me. And you've built such a beautiful rapport that it's a natural segue for you to then introduce and offer. You are not selling. You are offering to help them. Now there's a lot that goes into that. I don't think we have time to get into that at this point. Just looking at the clock. Essentially, you need to have your services or your products packaged well. You want them to have hot results, concrete results that people can relate to. You want to have a very good price attached to that that you are confident about. A lot of money mindset stuff you need to do about that. But if you work on that sexy soul, you will realize that you are valuable, and you will then have confidence to charge the prices that you're worth. So anyway, at that stage in the conversation, you can then present your offer and then go from there. So I want to wrap up this whole thing, especially around the sales conversations, talking about objections. Is that seconds or minutes? Minutes. Okay. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to talk fast. So I'm almost done. I want to talk about objections. So I would love it if you started to enjoy sales conversations like I do. I love these. And if you started to enjoy objections like I do. Most of you, how many of you, I can't afford it, and you run away. You think the conversation's over. I don't have time. And you say, okay. No, if you have connected in a soulful way, and you have followed some of these steps I've just recommended, or make them your own, you get an objection. You have an opportunity to dig a little deeper. So what do you do when they say I can't afford it? Give me some ideas. What do you do when you hear I can't afford it? Yeah.
So if money weren't an object,
there you go.
Willing to move forward.
If money were not the object, is this something you'd want to do? Okay. If money were not the object, something you want to do. Now, why do we ask that question? It is so revealing. Well, first of all, you might want to ask permission to keep going. So if they say I can't afford it, I suggest you ask permission. Is it okay if I ask you something about that? Or do you want to talk? Can we talk about that for a minute? Ask permission. And then you say, if money were not the object, is this something you want to do? In that question, one of two things is going to happen. If they say, yes, I really want to do this, I just don't have the money. Great. Then you go into problem-solving mode. You say, you want some help with that? You want to help figure out how to pay for this? And then you've taken them from like they're a yes, they just need some strategies, around the money. And that takes you down that path. The really interesting, juicy stuff comes up when they say, well, they start hemming and hawing because they haven't given you a straight answer to if money weren't the problem, is this something you want to do? That's when you realize they use the money excuse because they're lazy and they don't really want to tell you what's holding them back. So that's an opportunity, if you are gentle and soulful, to explore that a little further. Because you've either not expressed your value with someone, like they're not clear on what you can really help them with, or you haven't really gotten to the root of what's their real problem, which could be, my husband doesn't support what I'm doing, I don't believe I can do what you say I can do. It could be any number of things, and then that takes you down another trajectory. So I want you to come to love objections like I do, because they always come up, because here's what's happening. You're a bunch of spiritual entrepreneurs. So you're pushing people to the next level. So when you do that, you're going to run right up against with the stuff that's always kept them stuck. So if you don't help them get past that, that's an opportunity missed. That's how I see it. So, because you're not selling widgets. You're selling improvement. You're selling up-leveling. You're selling a greater expression of life and love and spirit. So use these tools to help them and be of service to them. Okay, so to wrap that up, the pieces around sales, because if you're not selling, then you're not going to earn the money that you need to earn, and then the world is not going to improve. It's just my heartfelt knowing that the women in this room need to thrive, absolutely thrive, and it starts with sales. So bring that sexy soul out, learn to see sales as service, and you apply some of these structures I gave to you for the sales conversation. I guarantee you, even if you don't make sales right away, you're going to have a much better experience, and so will the person you're talking to. Okay, so I know what it's like to go to conferences and trainings, and you get all this great new information, and then you have to like integrate it and think, okay, I got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. So it's very easy to feel a little overwhelmed. It's like breaking in new shoes, like it doesn't quite fit yet. Overwhelmed, kind of frustrated, Like, okay, now I got to go try this way. What do I say? On and on and on. So I have cleared some space, which was tricky to do, but I love Powerful You, I really do. Of all the networking groups, this one is nearest and dearest to my heart, I gotta say, at Inzu. So I have devised something to help you move forward, and it's free. And we know we love free. This is called a Soulful Sales Discovery Session. What is that? A free consult with me on the phone. We're going to pick apart your sales conversations, your sales process, figure out where do you stumble. Is it around pricing? Is it around how do I introduce myself? Is it I don't know what my packages are? So this is a deconstructing of your own sales process with me on the phone. I'll tell you what you're doing right, what you might want to improve, and within that time, 45 minutes or an hour, my goal is that you have a transformation in your sales process. So if you're interested in this, I have limited spots, but if you are eager, hungry, ready to break through in sales, Kathy and Sue are passing out a form. Fill it out. There's a couple of questions to get a sense of where you're stumbling. Fill out the form and then bring it up. I have a clipboard with days and times, so just fill out your name and we'll be in touch with you about the appointment. So in closing, oh, and by the way, on that form, if you're not interested in a Soulful Sales Discovery session, not a problem. If you want a free report, I think it's 5 mistakes that keep you cash strapped. This is beyond sales. There's other things that we do that keep us cash strapped. Just fill out that box and I'll send you that free report. Okay, in closing, I just thank you. I just thank you. You are bold, you are bright, you are brilliant, you are courageous. You know, you're I get goosebumps. You didn't go get the job yet. You're still trying to give your gift into the world and make money doing it. And I just honor you for that, and I thank you for that, because we need you. So thank you, and namaste. Thank you.